A rich, imaginative girl befriends a poor landscaper man, making her parents and neighbors suspicious of his dark intentions. To improve their quality of life, the wealthy Stockard family moves to the walled community of Camelot Gardens in Kentucky. The family includes Claire and Morton, along with their bright and imaginative daughter, Devon. Once settled in their new home, the girl imagines herself in the fable of Baba Yaga, a story about a bony-legged witch who devours children in an enchanted forest. Living in a walled village, Devon believes she's safe from the nasty creature she thinks resides outside their subdivision. To establish their family's presence and help their daughter make friends, Claire and Morton encourage their child to sell cookies for a charitable cause. They dress her up like a Girl Scout and give her a list of houses to visit. Meanwhile, mischievous neighbor Billy pretends to shoot at Trent Burns, the landscaper who lives outside the village. When the boy's mother calls him inside for snacks, the prankster rushes indoors, causing his hat to fly off. Seizing the opportunity, the discriminated gardener runs over the cap, destroying it. Before Devon leaves, her parents remind her to smile and stay within the gated community. Carrying her cookies in a wagon, the salesgirl begins her journey. As she walks, she passes by Nash, the security guard, who expresses interest in buying cookies. However, she politely declines as he is not on her list. After receiving payment from his client, Trent asks if he can use their bathroom. Unfortunately, his request goes unanswered, prompting him to relieve himself by using a cup in his car. Passing by in a vehicle, wealthy resident Pam Gregory witnesses the act, which turns her on. Unable to start the engine, the worker opens the hood for a quick inspection. Fortunately, Nash lends a helping hand and runs the engine smoothly again. As the outsider prepares to leave, the cop reminds him to avoid being in the village after 5 until he receives proper clearance. While driving, Trent removes his shirt and grabs a cold beer from the cooler. To freshen up, he stops his truck on a bridge and without minding the traffic, he gets out and discards his pants. Then the man fearlessly drives into the river below. Afterward, he gets back in his truck and continues his driving. Ignoring her parents' warnings, Devon ventures outside the gated village. Lost in her imaginative world, she walks until she spots a trailer house in the forest, convinced it is the place of Baba Yaga. Nearby, she finds an empty doghouse and places a cookie on its entrance, pretending to feed an imaginary stray dog, another character in the story. Subsequently, the girl discovers that the trailer house is unlocked and ventures inside. Suddenly, a slam from the truck's door startles her as she explores the area. Reacting quickly, she attempts to flee but stumbles on the floor. As Trent opens the door, Devon introduces herself and mentions that she is selling cookies for a charitable cause. However, the silent man closes the door and sits outside, showing no interest in her offer. After a brief moment, the girl approaches the worker and admires his truck. Filled with excitement, she asks if she can ride in it. However, the worker dismisses her, quickly retreating to his trailer house and instructing the girl to return home instead. While having dinner with her parents, Devon shares that she only sold 4 cookie bags. Morton then offers advice, suggesting she sell with a cheerful expression and give it another try the next day. That night, the girl slips out of bed and climbs onto the roof through her window. Casting off her nightdress, she lets out a fierce, wolf-like howl, embracing the darkness. The next day, with her father's encouragement, Devon sets out to sell cookies again. While walking, she encounters Billy, who playfully points a toy gun at her. Irritated, the girl takes the toy gun from him and places it in his mouth, asserting dominance. While Claire is gardening, neighbors Sean and Brett approach to greet her. When the woman suggests they get a summer job, Brett reasons that no one would help her pull up the grass. The playful man then kneels and fools around with her, prompting his friend to leave them for a while. Meanwhile, Devon returns to the trailer house and peeks through the window, catching Trent and Pam in an intimate moment. Suddenly, she loses her balance and falls, causing the startled couple to exit the trailer. After the landscaper's partner leaves, the storyteller recounts the fable, highlighting the stray dog's warning to the girl about Baba Yaga intending to cook her. Following the animal's advice, she seeks shelter in the forest and discovers a tree along the way, which she decorates with red ribbons to pass through. Not understanding the fable, Trent reacts by stating that trees are indifferent toward people. Curious about their relationship, Devon asks if Pam is Trent's girlfriend. However, the worker ignores her question and mentions that he needs to take off to mow lawns. When the gardener requests that she go home, Devon insists that she'll only comply after he assists her with putting red ribbons on the tree, which the fable's protagonist did. Trent then agrees and ties the ribbons on the limbs. As he does this, the girl shares about her heart condition that almost took her life. Surprised by her revelation, the worker discloses a gunshot wound almost ended him. When the girl requests to see a scar, he hesitates to show his ugly marking. When Trent wonders why Devon doesn't have friends her age, she reveals her dislike for kids, pointing out they smell like television and talk too fast. Suddenly, the man tumbles from the tree after finishing the final ribbon, prompting the panicked girl to hide inside the doghouse. Unable to move, he instructs the storyteller to get the liquor from his truck so he can drink it. Soon after, Trent gets ready for work in Camelot Gardens and takes Devon in the car, considering she resides there. However, he drops her off the gate to prevent any suspicion. Later, the Stockard family hosts a barbecue and extends invitations to their neighbors, including Sean and his dog, Tracker. While Martin grills the steak, he asks Brett to call Claire from the kitchen to help with the salad. Unbeknownst to her dad, Devon catches sight of the promiscuous neighbor engaging in an affair with her mother. After mowing the lawn, Trent heads to Morton for payment. Along the way, he runs into Pam, who pretends she doesn't know him, ashamed that she hung out with the poor man. Before giving the worker his salary, the cook offers him hot dogs instead of steak. As the gardener sits, Brett approaches, questioning his relationship with Pam. Shortly after, Sean joins them, followed by Nash, who accuses the gardener of being the culprit behind the missing lampshades in the neighborhood. However, the man firmly denies the accusation. After Trent receives the payment, he notes that it is $10 short. Morton explains that he deducted the cost of the hot dogs from the amount. However, the cook swiftly admits that he was only joking and hands over $10. The landscaper heads out, and Sean follows, reminding him of their elementary friendship. The worker corrects him, stating they are only classmates. Soon after, he notices a hole in the rich guy's shirt and pokes it, resulting in a brief and subtle hand-holding moment. After witnessing her dad's actions to the gardener, Devon seeks revenge. She mischievously places her steak in her dad's toolbox and urinates in his SUV. Surprisingly, the girl turns on the wipers inside the vehicle and discovers a handgun in the compartment. The storyteller grabs the weapon and aims it, prepared for action. Suddenly, Brett catches her in the act. Disturbed by his behavior, she hastily exits the car and runs away. Later, Devon packs a suitcase and deceives her parents, claiming she'll spend the night at her friend Tracy's house. After Claire drops her off at the location, the girl heads to the trailer and finds Pam leaving the property. Afterward, Devon enters the trailer and finds Trent cleaning his chainsaw. Suddenly, she asks him how it feels to get shot. Startled by the question, the worker accidentally injures his finger with the tool. Upon seeing this, the storyteller attempts to sip the blood, startling the gardener. She then explains her belief that she must extract the poison, comparing it to a snake bite. However, the man clarifies that a snake didn't bite him. Soon after, the girl casually mentions that she isn't afraid of blood because of her past surgery. Intrigued, she asks Trent how much blood he lost due to his gunshot, but the worker admits he doesn't know. The man then narrates how he got shot while drinking with his friend Jeff. They went to the store to get more bottles, but the presence of police officers caused the problem. When the landscaper burped loudly in front of the officers, it annoyed them, and they later pulled them over. However, his buddy decided to run, giving the cops the impression that they were hiding something. As a result, chaos ensued, and Trent punched one of the officers, prompting the other to shoot him. Curiously, Devon asks why people call Trent trash or assume he is poor. She mentions her father's belief that hard work can lead to wealth. She also points out that he isn't trash because he doesn't smell foul. After laughing at the amusing comment, the man explains that lawn owners and lawn specialists indicate a difference in social status. When he mentions taking Devon home, the storyteller confesses that she deceived her parents by inventing a friend named Tracy Keller and pretending to stay at her house. The girl then inquires about a place to sleep in the trailer, but the worker guides her outside, instructing her to return home. However, Devon disregards the advice and later invites him to find fresh chickens, which he accepts. While driving, Trent warns about the legal consequences of stealing livestock. However, the girl playfully emphasizes that they'll only borrow the animals and then change their minds and eat them instead. After stealing chickens from a barn, the gardener drops Devon at a phone booth, where she can call her mom and update her while at Tracy's house. Then, they return to the trailer, where the storyteller asks Trent if they would have been friends if they had met centuries ago. However, the worker corrects her, stating they're hunters, not friends. After cooking the chicken, the landscape artist asks what Morton would do if he found out Devon slept over at his house. The girl replies that her dad would cut off her feet and burn the worker. The girl then plays with the chicken feet, imagining them as Baba Yaga's legs. When Trent asks about the role of the witch in the story, the girl guesses that she represents the wrong things. She narrates that the villain goes into the dark to meet an animal and end its life to eat it. That night, Trent kindly allows Devon to sleep on his bed while he takes the couch. Continuing the fable story, the storyteller narrates how the girl, assisted by a grateful stray dog she had fed, receives magical items, a comb and a towel. As the girl runs away from Baba Yaga through the forest, she throws down the towel, creating a river that hides her tracks. When the witch gets close, she drops the comb, and a dense forest instantly grows, creating a barrier between her and the evil entity. A groggy Trent interrupts the narrator, reminding her of his need to wake up early for work the next day. The following morning, Morton seeks Nash's assistance regarding the missing lampshade from his driveway. Unbeknownst to them, their neighbor Billy steals and plays with it on the river. As Trent readies his tools before leaving for Camelot Gardens, he agrees to be friends with Devon but emphasizes keeping their relationship a secret because of their differing backgrounds. While the gardener drives, the girl asks what he wants to be when he grows up. He then shares that he wants to walk out of his current life. Shortly after, they stop at a river, a spot where the worker used to spend time as a child. Since he urinated on it before, he claims he owns it. Trent then invites Devon to the roof of his truck and they dance along to a song on the radio inside the car. From a distance, Morton and Nash are fishing, not recognizing the faces of the duo. Annoyed by the loud music, the security guard pulls and shoots his handgun in the water, prompting the dancers to stop. Suddenly, Devon's father removes his glasses and recognizes Trent, not her daughter. Shortly after, the duo starts mooning the fishermen before driving off. Later, Claire and Morton ask about their daughter's overnight stay, and she casually replies that she had a good time. Suddenly, the girl reveals that Brett made an inappropriate advance by trying to put his hand up her shirt the other day, but she escaped. After Morton praises his daughter for running away, he reveals that Brett's father is a vice president at Maxitel, Kentucky. In response, the girl suddenly adjusts her story, claiming that their neighbor simply tickled her, relieving the mother. Suddenly, the storyteller excuses herself, stating she doesn't feel well. From their car, Sean and Brett carefully observe Trent as he mows the lawn, commenting that his job doesn't make any difference in the world. However, the latter feels threatened by the gardener's connection with Pam, thinking he has some hidden agenda. While playing with their dolls, Devon spots Trent outside in the scorching heat, prompting her to ask her mom if she could give the man a glass of water. Claire then approves, but lets her daughter use the cup under the sink than their fancy ones. After receiving the water, the playful worker sprinkles it on the girl's dress, prompting her to laugh. Shortly after, the landscape specialist gives her a turtle he almost ran over. Unbeknownst to them, Devon's anxious mom witnesses their interaction. Later, she warns her daughter that the man might ask Morton for a job. While Brett and Sean's car is parked, Billy, in an astronaut suit, feeds Tracker and takes their CD. When the two guys return, they immediately accuse Trent as the culprit, prompting them to put sugar in his lawnmower. When the worker's equipment stops working, he seeks help from Nash, and they discover what's causing it. Later, the cop questions Trent about giving the turtle to Devon, implying that he could have kept it for himself instead. Because of his broken lawnmower, Trent drives away from the community. However, Sean and Brett block his path, accusing him of stealing their CDs. Suddenly, Brent hits Trent's face with the equipment, causing a minor injury. When a concerned Sean touches the poor man's wound, the enraged landscape artist unexpectedly bites the man's lip. After pushing the rich guy against the truck, Tracker bites the grass cutter's leg, prompting its owner to stop his pet. Afterward, the worker jumps into his vehicle and drives off. Frustrated, Trent returns to his trailer, where Devon witnesses his breakdown over the malfunctioning lawnmower. To lighten the mood, she playfully imitates his jumping on the equipment, bringing a smile to his face. Afterward, the man drives off to visit his parents, bringing the kid along. Upon arriving at the house, the girl notices that the landscape artist used to be a diving champion. Later, the worker argues with his former soldier dad, Jake, who starts gifting him his flag collection because he will pass away soon. After a triggered Trent storms off the house, the father gives Devon his flag. Then he approaches his son and sits in silence with him. While driving back, the girl asks about Trent's numbered dad's life. The man then explains that it's because of the lung disease he obtained from being a soldier. Afterward, they stop by a field. Thinking they're best friends, Devon shows the gardener her surgery scar and lets him touch it. In return, he finally agrees to reveal the gunshot mark on his abdomen. Suddenly, Devon notices the unleashed Tracker running in the field. She urgently asks her friend to catch him, and they both give chase. Tragically, the man runs over the dog, severely injuring it. Despite the girl's pleas to take the animal to a vet, Trent gets out of the car and insists that Devon stay while he hits the pet to put it out of its misery. Witnessing this horrible event, the storyteller rushes home and tells her mom what happened. Upon receiving the news from Claire, Morton heads to his house to ask their daughter if the landscape specialist touched her inappropriately. When she doesn't answer, the father calls Nash, who has just seen the lifeless dog wrapped in an American flag at the gate. Later, Devon reveals to the cop that she and Trent touched each other's scars before they were friends. However, the girl emphasizes that she hates the gardener for ending the dog's life. Shortly after, Sean, the dog's owner, arrives. Devon then reveals where Trent lives to help them track the aggressor, and they all drive to get to the destination. Upon arriving at the trailer, Morton beats Trent, assuming the man touched his daughter inappropriately. Shortly after, Sean joins the assault, fueled by his grief for his dog. As they beat her friend, Devon watches from the car. When Sean is about to hit the landscaper with a log, the girl gets out of the car and shoots the attacker in the abdomen to protect the poor worker. Afterward, the storyteller approaches Trent and helps him escape. She then aims the gun at her dad to surrender his wallet, which she gives to the worker, along with the handgun. Then, she grabs the towel and comb from the trailer and gives them to her friend, believing the item will offer him protection, just like in the fable. Curious, Trent asks Devon about the story's ending, to which she reveals that the escaping girl kept running until she got home. When the gardener asks where home is, the storyteller says it's in her hands as she touches the man's face. After the worker leaves, Devon aims the handgun at Morton and directs him to kneel so she can climb onto his shoulders and get to the ribbon tree. As the narrator climbs the trunk, she recreates the fable with the people from her own life. In her version, she sees Trent as the escaping protagonist, herself as the helpful stray dog he fed, and the menacing figures of Morton, Nash, and Sean as the Baba Yaga. In her imagination, Trent mirrors the actions of the fable's protagonist. He throws the towel, causing the river to spring up and erase his tracks. Afterward, the man tosses the comb, conjuring a protective forest. He drives on until he finds a safe place away from the witch. After concluding the tale, Devon remains perched atop the tree, embracing it tightly in a heartfelt hug.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.